like, subscribe, and comment down below. Today we're going to be talking about something that I felt like was an interesting conversation I had with a buddy of mine, right? The conversation went like this. What would happen if the movie had, how can I say, imagination? Now, the reason we even mentioned that we were having this conversation, we were watching the movie Zorro, the one with Antonio Banderas. Um, yes, folks, I love Antonio Banderas because he's like one of my favorite actors.
Unknown contact says, I have online $5 here with me and that is not going to be enough for the gas dear.
Sorry about that, guys. Um, I'm having a conversation with someone, and we were gonna get meet up, and apparently it doesn't seem like it's gonna happen. Um, anyway, so the conversation with my friend was Antonio Banderas and me. I don't know where I'm going with this. Yeah, right. I'll never meet that guy. I mean, seriously, he's a big Halloween star. Anyway, so I was watching the movie, and there was a big difference between Antonio and the previous guy that was doing Zorro. And mind you, they made this reference, and I loved it. It was so good. There was a lot of references to the fact that the movie was just beautiful because it had because they made a very unique distinction between Spanish and Mexican heritages, which honestly a lot of people say, well, isn't that the same thing? It's like, no, it's not even remotely the same. It has similarities, obviously, because Mexican heritage basically derived from Spanish, but there's a big difference between the Spanish from Europe and Mexicans here. So Mexican, if you guys don't know, hey, how's it going? Thank you very much for checking out my videos. If you guys don't know, Mexicans here are basically indigenous. We are from the basically the Aztecs, the Mayans, and the Incas. We are technically Indians. I'm not bullshitting you guys. Mexicans for most. Have you ever seen the difference between pale skinned Mexicans like me? Well, I'm more or less pale. Um, so pale skinned Mexicans like me come from Europe. That's why I'm pale instead of darker brown. A lot of people say, well, it's like, well, how come you're not darker and you're Mexican? It's like, well, guys, that's probably because the darker brown people, they were from the indigenous people from this continent, not Europe. There's a big, big, big difference, and that is was the big difference in culture as far as that in the movie um, in Zorro movie, the one with Antonio Banderas, because Antonio, if I remember correctly, I don't think he was, because there was a big difference between Spanish and Mexican, and I forgot which one's which, but the styles were different, and I think Antonio was representing the Mexicans, and the other guy was representing the Europe Spaniards, and I could be wrong. I'd be the other way around. But the point is, guys, there is a big difference. There is a real big difference. Um, and it's not just skin tone, guys. It really isn't just the skin tone. A lot of times it's culture in general, because in Spanish, in Spain, um, we do speak relatively the same language, but there are configurations. If you go into a Spanish class, the Spanish you're going to learn is from Spain, not from Mexico. That is the biggest distinction you guys will never know. I've actually noticed it when I was a kid. I was in Spanish class because I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have an easy A. I didn't know the difference between my native language. Basically, it's technically my native language because I've been learning it since I was a kid. So I know two languages, obviously, English and Spanish. And growing up, I was exposed to the differences between the two cultures, and like I said, I generally wanted to see what the big difference was, and there was a big difference between that culture there, the Spanish culture from actual Spain and Mexico. Spain had more of a refined rapier. Imagine, basically the difference between Spanish and Mexican. Uh, Spanish culture, think of it as more of a rapier, a bit of a sword, single point. Um, and Mexican culture, it had more of a blast. It's more, you know, that is the big difference between our two cultures. Is the primary when you think primarily, Mexicans generally had more of an expression, more of an explosion as far as culture goes. Spain, it's more they were more refined, more. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're very much hot blooded as much as we Mexicans are, and again, that's where we derived our similarities. We have a lot of similarities, but there are as much differences as there are similarities because, again, as far as culture goes, there are distinct differences between us. Um, our celebrations are similar, but
Unknown contact says, I don't know, maybe you can help me with $15 or $10.
sorry guys, I was talking to someone, and I have to. Nah. Um, so what happened? Anyway, that is going to be that conversation. Um, but sorry, I didn't mean to turn it into a comparison, because it was a kind of the reason I'm mentioning it at all is because I was having a conversation with my friends, like, what would happen if movies had a bigger ability to know the difference between certain cultures, don't personify, because a lot of movies personify certain cultures to the point where a lot of misconceptions happen. But I do love the fact that when it comes to cultural differences and cultural in general, some movies actually do their homework. And that's one thing I love about certain movies. One of my favorite movies is called Blue Beetle. Yes, folks, it's a superhero movie, DC, by the way. Um, and the reason why I'm mentioning it is because it has the main character is and his family is from Mexico. I don't remember exactly. I think it was not Tijuana, like somewhere Durango. I think I'm not entirely 100% sure. Um, but it was definitely they were definitely Mexican, because I trust me, my family is exactly like they are most of the time. Um, there was a scene that that they were trying to give him peer pressure, trying to open something, and they were chanting like they were doing the peer pressure, like they were being fun with. They were like, it's like, I'm not gonna open this. I was told never to open this, and it's like, que lo abre. Everybody was singing it, and I was laughing my ass off, going, wow, that is my family right there. That is my family doing that crap to me, just out of fun, out of pure enjoyment, and that is my family. And the reason why I'm mentioning it is because, again, they input cultural. They like I said, they do their homework sometimes. They really do sometimes. When they do, it is amazing. But when they don't, and they try to basically personify when movies personify like stereotypes, it's either out of ignorance, because a lot of times a lot of people give crap to some of the movies. But these days they've done more research on certain subjects, and I'm kind of glad they do, because a lot of times it gives the movie, the narrative, a little more flavor, more text, because if they don't do it that way, a lot of times they're going to be telling you that they have no idea what they're doing, and they're just basically doing this as a money grab. And I hate when they do that because it gives us less faith in the movie, not to mention their ability to do what is right. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's fine that you guys are having fun as far as doing spoofs, because spoofs are supposed to be about, stereotypes or running jokes, which is understandable 100%. But when they willfully tell you that, hey, we see this running joke about cultures, let's just hope they do this out of whimsy, not ignorance. Because if they're doing it by whimsy, they're just having fun with it. But if they're doing this by ignorance, that just means that they were either misinformed or they did not do their due diligence. And sometimes a lot of movies don't do their due diligence and they put out something really blah, and they blame the material. Ladies and gentlemen, don't ever blame the material. Blame the people with the direction. Blame the directors. Blame the researchers. The people behind the scene, guys. Blame those guys because they're the ones that are responsible for putting out this content. I'm just telling you guys, be very, very weary on certain subjects, whether it's in movies or other type of media, TV shows, whatever. Um, I'm telling you guys, be out there, be discerning, be informed, know what you're watching, know what you're experiencing, and if you have any questions, I mean, it's not that hard to ask someone you know. If you know someone from Mexico, or you know someone that is Mexican, or for whatever culture you're trying to research, you don't if you don't know anybody in that culture, there's nothing wrong with looking it up, guys, because it's out there. The information is out there. General information is pretty easy to get into. There are reels for it. There are channels dedicated to cultures. Me personally, I don't do cultural things because honestly, I'm very inexperienced in certain things like that. I mean, for fuck's sake, guys, it took me 10 to 15 years to get into my own culture. Yeah, I was 15 before I started getting into my culture with any kind of gusto. When I was growing up, don't get me wrong, I loved the idea of culture, but I never really got into it because I never thought it would even benefit me in any way, shape, or form. Or I never really thought about it. But when I started starting into other cultures, honestly, my favorite thing getting into was TV shows that are Korean, or hell, I get an anime. My favorite concept is anime, and I loved it because it gets you into a different cultural mindset. A lot of anime, if you guys don't know, a lot of anime, some of my favorite anime are cultural. If you actually look into some of the primary ones, I can't really say which ones I can think of that would. Slice of Life is a good one. Slice of Life is a good one. I'd recommend those animes specifically because they are basically characters living through their life in Japan, because a lot of animes are in centered around Japan, and that culture will show because basically they're manga or whatever. Another example would be manga. I'd recommend that. Um, you will be confused though, I promise you that, because manga has this really weird thing where instead of you reading it left to right, it's right to left. So it's going to be very confusing. Hell, I still get confused on which order of panels I'm reading, but I get there eventually. Point is, guys, it's all about exposure. Exposure to culture that may not be yours, but that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. best thing I can tell you guys as far as culture in general. Um, listen to their food. Sorry, eat their food. Listen to their music, and basically the best. That's the best exposure I can think of is listen to the music, eat their food, and you don't even have to speak their language. Just enjoy. I mean, I have a friend that I have many friends from different nationalities. I have a few friends that are white as paste. A couple of dudes that are black as night. Um, one of my closest friends at work is not really close, but we're co-workers and we're close enough. He is Indian. He comes from India, and I like hanging out with him. He frustrates me. Don't get me wrong. He frustrates me, but I talk to him, and we have these conversations where they dive into our culture, our respective cultures, and I love these conversations because it gives me a different perspective from someone else's point of view, life in general. And if you guys enjoy the video, and if you guys have any friends from any other culture outside your own, please do me a favor and dive into their culture. Trust me, you guys will not be unappreciative. I mean, it doesn't even have to be anything big. You just like if you have a friend and you're white as ghosts, go to with your friend and ask him, hey man, would you do me a favor? Talk to this guy in Spanish. Order some tacos. It's that simple. It's literally that simple to be exposed to culture in general. It doesn't even have to be anything big. You don't even have to get out of your own city, guys. You can just go to a fucking taco stand and go, hey, give me a taco and a couple of tortas, and it doesn't even. Again, it's exposure to a culture in general. Food is the most prominent exposure to culture because food is just basically the spice of life. It shows you what the person is, uh, not only the people, but their ideals, their enjoyment, their and if they're good, trust me, guys. I know a few places where some good carne asada, and mind you, it's not exactly cheap, but I love carne asada. If you guys don't know, it's basically grilled beef. Um, and I love it. And it's basically it's steak just grilled up, and it is so fucking good. It like if you do it correctly, you can actually taste the grill through the carne, and oh my god, and not only is it juicy, but it's so good. And that's one of the things I love about food in general is it's so expressive depending on who makes it and what culture it's from. That's why. And yeah, if you guys looking at me, it's like, well, it looks you look it. I'm like, yeah, I'm fat. So what? The difference is I'm more or less healthy compared to most people I know. Because they say, well, how much do you weigh? 225 minimum. I'd say closer to 230. But the difference is, guys, I can actually walk around pretty good. The one thing I hate is being in the summer, but yeah, that's me in general. I used to have the same issue when I was a kid and I was skinnier. Anyway, thank you for checking out my videos, and I hope you guys expose yourselves to a good amount of culture. Enjoy yourselves, and when you look into movies or TV shows or any other kind of media, my recommendation is fact check a lot of these things. So fact check certain things. One of my favorite things to fact check is when cultural appropriation. Mind you, I'm not saying movies culturally appropriate things. Hell no. And I feel like it's an oxymoron because culture is supposed to be shared, not suppressed by people saying, "Oh, you're appropriating it." Dude, appropriation it just basically means that you're taking it away. That's literally all that basically it translates to. If you're trying to share your culture, that's not appropriation. That is basically sharing your culture. Like there's the big difference because like me and my friends love exposing each other to each other's culture because it's so much fun. Um, I I all the time let my friend come over when my mom is cooking because my mom, if you ever want an authentic Mexican food, come to a Mexican's house. It's that simple. I mean, seriously, just come to a Mexican's house. Same thing for any other culture. It's like if you want an authentic Chinese food, go to a fucking Chinese place. Not Chinese restaurant, but your best friend that happens to be Chinese or Japanese or whatever, and let their mom cook for you. That is authentic shit because it's from the motherland. I'm just saying, my friend loves hanging out at my place when my mom cooks because my mom is an amazing cook for one. Second, she knows how to make some really good food. One of my favorite foods is tamales. Sorry, my brain. Tamales. When my mom makes tamales, oh my god, I cannot get enough. Especially the red ones. I don't like the green ones specifically, but I do love the red ones. The red ones are my all-time favorite because I don't know. The green ones just have a weird taste to me. I just don't like them personally. But the red ones are my absolute favorite. And I will never stop eating them because they're so fucking good. The difference is they're really really hard to make. Not really hard specifically, they're just time consuming because when you make them, I'd recommend making them in a bulk because yeah, you don't want to get into making them again for at least another month. Mind you, and that's a least amount of time you want to make them. My family likes to make them and basically have enough for at least 3 4 months. Yeah, that's how much we make in one sitting. Again, they're time consuming, and to make them in general, it takes 6 or 7 hours just to cook them. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, they're not easy in the sense that as far as their preparation goes, they're more or less easy, but they're really, really time consuming. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys out there have foods that are similar that you love with all your heart, but are a pain in the tail to make. Guys, I'm telling you right now, every culture has at least one or two, at minimum 10 different dishes that will take all day and a half just to prepare, let alone make. Anyway, thank you for checking out this video. I love you guys all. Be informed, be well fed, and have some fun. Take care. This is your friendly neighborhood gamer Djinn Candor, signing off and wishing you love, luck, happiness, and mucho, mucho amor. Love you guys all. Take care.